Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy. We are here with a slightly different video than usual. This is actually an announcement video for a brand new show that we're going to be starting on the channel. We're always kind of like looking to new ideas, and the reviews are still going to be going, the live streams, everything like that, the James Bond reviews that we do, the new releases. This is going to be something that we do at least once a month, so still expect all the usual business, but this is like a dash of something new. This was actually an idea came up by you, George, which I'm going to pass over to you in a second to explain what this new show is. We're still building up hype for it right now. As you can see at the bottom, it is sort of like hell related. I guess we can say that. And I do want to say it's so satisfying to finally have a video where we can have flames at the bottom of the screen, because that looks awesome. But no, this is one that we're both really excited to talk about. We're going to be bringing up graphics. We're going to be pitching the show to you guys. And we're going to be sharing the screen as well with all the list of films that are going to be related to this. I don't want to say too much in case I give anything away right now from the intro. So just a quick blast through the socials, and then we'll be announcing this thing.
Absolutely, everyone. Apologies on any delays. My internet is the one day of the week it's decided to be terrible. Is just why we've had loads of delays. So I missed the intro for some reason. The photos weren't loading. So I'm now a bit terrified because this is the one interactive video we actually have planned. But social media wise, yes, obviously this is going to be a show where we actually need you on the socials a little bit more. So I'm going to start off, mainly, this always go, Twitter's better, but Facebook at Cinema Savvy, Twitter at Cinema_Savvy. Letterboxd is going to be very important. We're going to go over that very shortly. So that's letterboxd.com/Cinema Savvy. That, because we've got something to show you. And we have a link to TeePublic in the description below. But before we get to that, we want to very, very quickly say that out of nowhere, we've got a low-key spoiler-free episode 1 and 2 video coming up this Tuesday. Completely out of the blue today, caught us off guard. So we're going to get that in before we obviously do Live and Let Die as we carry on this Bond film. So there are a couple of other videos coming up. And no idea if my internet's working with other people, so apologies again. But yes, this is rather than me say, I'm just going to bring up the first graphic that we have. Again, apologies, my internet's being really slow still. So the thumbnail gave that away because it wouldn't click off, which is quite embarrassing and tragic to its own point. So again, no idea what's going wrong. If people at home are having issues, I don't even know if we're in sync. So again, apologies about this. No, but this is Reboots From Hell. And I know what you're thinking. We're going to go over some of the worst reboots ever made. We're not. We're not going to be talking about terrible remakes or remakes that were good that people dislike. What of that? This is a brand new show where we put ourselves in a situation. It's more of a commentary, I guess you could say, on the established Hollywood narrative, right? We basically have a list of films that there's 100 of them, which we'll get to that in a little bit, but they're kind of the films that no one ever wants these to be rebooted. There could be a classic film, old school Hollywood, musical, romance, comedy, action, drama. Could be part of a franchise. It could be part of a trilogy. It could be a standalone or a sequel. We have devised a list of 100 films, which we'll get to. And the concept of the show is that we are tasked with rebooting it before Hollywood gets to it in time. We actually have included one film that Hollywood will be rebooting because it's got a pedo in the main lead. That's coming out this December. However, I don't really know where to go. When we say we're rebooting the film, obviously this isn't real. We don't have the money. We don't have the rights. But this is more of would be choosing a new director and cast. We're not changing plots, we're not changing this. We're just making it our own thing with the recasting, with the directors. Could be a composer if the film's big enough, important enough. It is one of those where we are tasking it on. And there will always be 3 of us on the video. But myself and Chris, and we're going to get a guest on for each one. And these are going to be at least once a month. There's a lot of room to maneuver. I'm waffling again at this moment in time, so I don't know what to do next. I'm going to hand it over to you if you want to speak about the list of the 100 films that we're not picking from. I've got to add that. We're not picking from the 100.
It's going to be based on a randomizer. I will say we obviously have had to pick episode 1 just to sort of like get the ball rolling, and then after that point, everything's going to be on a randomizer. It was actually so me and you came up with a list of 100 films, which was a really fun experience. There they are right now, and this is why going onto our Letterboxd and following us on there is going to be Very, very important for this show. You can see a clear list right there of all the 100 films that we're going to be selecting on a randomizer. And then obviously, as we start getting into the show and ticking some of these films off the list, we will be restocking the films with brand new titles in there. So it is going to be constantly updated as we go through. So as you can clearly see, these are kind of all films that we don't really want to see rebooted. I think I said after we came up with 100, this is a worthy 100 that I would be happy to have in a DVD collection. You're going to see things on there like the Star Wars prequels, and you might be thinking, well, some of us might want those rebooted. If you're going to put Star Wars on, you've got to do the prequels, you've got to do the originals, and you've got to do the sequels as well. But these are all big titles, and as you mentioned, we're going to be recasting these things. We've already in the process of preparing for our first episode. And it's already fun, like even between us, the anticipation's there because we're not going to know what any of each other have picked for their cast, for their director, if there's a film that calls for it, for a person who's going to be rescoring the film. So it's just going to be really just amending all of these parameters. It's sacrilege, really, taking all of these amazing films. That's why it's called Reboots from Hell. They're reboots that none of us would want to see. But you never know. We might come up with something truly special, something outside the box, and morbid curiosity might take over, where maybe it does actually turn into a reboot we might want to see.
Definitely. And I think that's the big thing where, obviously we don't want to see these done, but there is a lot of fun to be had with it. We have picked episode 1, as Chris said. I've got no issue bringing that up on the stream now. We're going to start off with something that's blatantly obvious that none of these films want to be rebooted. But we're going to do Pulp Fiction first. We picked it because we thought, what would be the travesty? What would cause the uproar? And what's something where you could imagine someone trying to do it one day? Not that it would ever happen or want to happen, but we've gone with Pulp Fiction. And we're going to be bringing Ryan back onto the channel. For those who've seen Battle of the Brackets, Ryan popped on quite a lot. He's one of my friends from university. Very good knowledge. And he always had a Pulp Fiction poster in his room. So we've got Ryan coming on for episode 1. That's going to be next Sunday, the 13th of June. Football fans, do not worry. It will not be clashing with the England game. So that's obviously on the afternoon. This will be the evening. But the episode 1 is next Sunday, the 13th. And I feel like I've missed something, what I wanted to add to that conversation, but I've fully missed it. That, again, going with Chris, that 100 films. So the way I don't mind giving a bit behind the scenes it's going to happen is that we've basically got the randomizer, as Chris said. And we will make sure that it is completely random. We're going to be doing things a week in advance. So I mentioned social is going to be important for this. We're not going to do a video where we tell you what the next film is. What we will do on the day we do the video, obviously, as usual, we'll announce it. It will be on our socials. This is coming back. Then's coming back. However, we're going to have a live reaction of us finding out what the draw is, because the people we bring on, it's not tailored to them. They're coming on knowing full well it's going to be one of that 100. And on the day of the episode, when we are live, we would then play a 30-second clip of us reacting to the draw. There are many films in this list that I have not seen. I'm sure there are some that Chris hasn't seen. There are some films I love, some films I hate. So it's going to be one of them where it's got the balance, but no one's jumping on out of favoritism. Whoever jumps on knows that it could be any of these. So we will obviously upload them onto social media when we do it. But we're always going to give ourselves a week's notice so we can obviously watch the film, have a think, do some photoshops, do some editing with it, because that's a very important thing. When we're going to present it to you, it's going to be done in a very different way. I don't mind bringing up Pulp Fiction. So, for example, the very first one we do, these are the people we have to sort of recast in Pulp Fiction. We've got 10 main characters. Obviously, we've got the actor and actress name there. But, of course, you've got Tarantino, who directed the film. So he's at the bottom. And, of course, Pulp Fiction is one of those films where the director has a cameo. So in our own rules, we're going to be, of course, recasting those 10. But whichever director we say is going to be the director for the reboot, they then have to also pretend to have that cameo. Obviously, this isn't happening. This isn't real, but that's something that we're taking into account for it. So it is very different. There are lots of new graphics prepared. It's going to be very different, which is really annoying that mine's been crap tonight, because it's just cocked up the entire animation stuff for it all. But no, Pulp Fiction is first next week. There will be another film on the 100 once we've done that. And as you said, get onto our letterbox. If you want to read it in full, go on our letterbox page. The list is now public, so you can have a scroll down. You can have a think. And one thing I don't know I added to it, I mentioned it could be a film, a sequel, a reboot, a trilogy, or a franchise. some of them will be trilogies. So, for example, we've got Batman Begins on there. We'd be recasting the Dark Knight trilogy. However, we also have Terminator 1 and 2 on there because we don't want to reboot every Terminator film. There's a lot of terrible Terminator films. We sort of agreed between us each entry. So when the day comes where we are doing a film, is very much going to be a single film or a franchise or a trilogy. And the franchise ones are questionable because we've got Doctor No on there, for example. However, if we had Bond, we would probably just be doing our own Bond story with our own villain, Bond, all the stuff. So this is one where it's going to be very different to us. Obviously, a new episode next week, so we're going to kickstart it. We'll have some, no doubt, teething problems, some feedback. So I'm very excited. I don't know if I'm talking too much now, but this is, of course, going to be a big one for us. This is something very different. We've not done something that's on the channel before, and it's quite fun that it's one of our sort of own. You know, we love doing Battle of the Brackets, but it's very hard to organise. But knowing it's something that we've sort of created for ourselves and it's something we like to do, we've been looking for more of that originality. And I think between this, the fact that ironically over the years, some of these films will probably get rebooted and we'll be laughing because we already did it ourselves. So it's like I said, it's a kind of it's a commentary on Hollywood, I guess you could say, the inevitable.
Yeah, it's just something a bit different. It's just a bit of a laugh, really, as well. You know, like if you're with your mates and you say, oh, let's recast a film, how it could have been written, how it could have been made. We're getting the chance to do that. And I'm going to bring up the graphic one more time of that Pulp Fiction one with the cast. Take a screenshot of this, take a photo of it. We are going to have it on our social media as well because we want you guys to send in who you'd recast for either all of or a few of these characters. Part of this show as well is that we wanted more interactivity with you guys. We love chatting movies with you guys, and as this is kind of a fun one, it's fun to speculate, especially because it's been so many years since that film, you know, with new actors on the scene now. How would you recast? How would you retool Pulp Fiction? So we do want to get you guys involved as well, not just through our letterbox, but also Facebook and Twitter. Send us in your cast list. You don't have to prepare a graphic like that. If you can, if you want to be really, really extra and send that in to us, but just a list, it'd be great to see what you guys are suggesting as well for some of these casts. I will say it won't influence our opinions or our choices in any way. George, you've already got your full cast list sorted. I've got mine sorted, so that's done and in the can. Sorted, but we do want to hear from you guys, so please do get those suggestions into us as well.
Definitely, and as it's in the can, but we don't know each other's picks. We don't have the faintest idea. We've obviously got our own sort of Photoshop stuff, so it's going to look the same, but it's going to be a surprise to us each on the day. We're keeping it very quiet between the pair of us. So for all we know, we could have the same cast. Very much doubt it, but there's nothing stopping it because we're not having the conversations about it beforehand. And of course, with the guests, they obviously send me their picks, so we will get theirs done, but we'll be keeping that quiet between us. Then on the night, comment along with us. You know, the way I guess we could say it's going to be structured without getting too deep is, you know, we'd start with the director, each talk which director we're picking, why we're picking them, and then it will be cast member by cast member in the order you see it on the photo. So it's one of them, and obviously we'll get those put on social media across the next week. So as I said, this is going to be a show where we've run social media more than usual. So I'm very excited to see what people come up with. But aside from that, I don't know if there's anything I haven't spoken about that needed to be covered.
I think I'll just say, you know, as we go through more episodes and we're looking to sort of resupply the films back to 100, suggest some films that aren't on the list to us that are considered classics. And that is the stipulation. They have to be regarded as, you know, greatest films of all time or iconic in their own way or culturally impactful. Just the best films of all time, really. And, you know, let us know some of your suggestions that maybe aren't on the list, and we'll put those in that will then obviously go into the randomizer, because we don't know what's going to get picked. Like, obviously, Pulp Fiction, we've decided that. After that, we have no idea. So stay tuned for that.
Definitely. And that being said, I think that rounds up this video. Obviously, Edward, we've got a lot of other things coming on the way this week. Loki, episode 1 and 2, again, this Tuesday. Embargo lifts at 5 p.m. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I know the social media embargo is lifted, but I think it still means I can't say anything on a video. But very, very intriguing. I'm going to give you a 2-word. And of course, the Bond videos, which we're loving at the moment. Live and Let Die, the Roger Moore era begins this Tuesday. We'll be live at 8 p.m., not pre-recorded. We're going to be live this week. And it's going to be very, very interesting discussion. First Roger Moore film, the first of 7. And yeah, so of course, we've got also new releases coming out. Nobody's got screening tomorrow in the Heights at the end of this week. There's a lot of films coming out in the next couple of weeks, sipping it with Fast 9 at the end of June. So we've got a lot of new reviews on the way. Weekly discussions are back. And of course, this new series. So if you are a fan, if you're looking forward to this next Sunday, June 13th, 8 p.m. BST, We'll be live, we'll be ready, and it's going to be chaotic, and I cannot wait. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you then.